The following presentation is brought to you by Discovery Education, leading the world of digital and video learning. Discovery Education. Connect to a world of learning.
Brazil is the world's largest Roman Catholic country. In the most recent census, 74% of the population, 137 million people, describe themselves as Roman Catholic. 10 million people attend Mass regularly. Nowhere is this faith more evident than in the old mining town of Ouro Preto, high in the mountains of Minas Gerais state. An estimated 1,000 tons of gold were extracted from these mountains when this was a mining boomtown during the 18th century. The rich mine owners expressed their gratitude to God with 13 ornate Baroque churches. Gold became part of the fabric of Ouro Preto's churches. The mines were exhausted by the 19th century, but the townspeople's faith lives on. It is most clearly expressed in the days leading to Easter, when parishioners reenact events from the Bible. In ceremonies that have remained virtually unchanged for almost 300 years, they relive the events of the betrayal, crucifixion, and resurrection of Jesus. Easter Sunday is marked by a jubilant procession through the streets, involving most of the town's 60,000 people. In Ouro Preto, religion forms an unbroken link through 3 centuries of history. On a bend in the Amazon River, where the road ends and the forest begins, lies the town of Abaetutuba, inhabited by 130,000 people. In this crossroad to the Amazon, bicycles have the right of way. But the busiest traffic in Abaetutuba is on the Amazon River. The waterway is the only highway through the impenetrable rainforest, and Abaetutuba is an important trading post on the route. River dwellers, known as caboclos, travel here from the surrounding islands and tributaries to sell the forest products they harvest. This is often their only source of income. They arrive at the riverbank every day at dawn to trade in the bounty of the Amazon forest. Local shopkeepers also set up stalls to sell essential goods to the caboclos. And the caboclos bring a bewildering array of products to the daily market. Many of the fruits they sell are unknown outside this region, let alone in Brazil. One, the acai berry, has recently found fame overseas as a superfood. Acai is a wild palm fruit packed with amino acids, omega oils, calcium, iron, and antioxidants. It's been a traditional staple of the river dwellers for centuries. Now the rest of the world is catching on. Who knows what other riches are waiting to be discovered in Abaetutuba's riverside market? Greenwing Valley lies in the heart of Piauí, the poorest of Brazil's 26 states. Sheer red cliffs tower over dry green scrubland known as Cerrado. The Cerrado is the second largest habitat type in Brazil after the Amazon rainforest, yet much more threatened. Life is difficult here. Mauro de Oliveira, his wife, and 6 children live here without running water, central electricity, or a telephone. Yet in this harsh environment dwells a remarkable species, one whose extraordinary talents were overlooked by the scientific world for many years. This small band of capuchin monkeys is doing something scientists once thought monkeys weren't capable of: using tools. The monkeys use hammer stones, which may weigh half as much as they do, to crack open tough palm nuts. Using logs or rocks as anvils, the capuchins pound away at the nuts until they break open, revealing the nourishing flesh inside. Practice makes perfect. And some monkeys are better at it than others. Scientists had long thought only great apes were intelligent enough to use tools. The capuchins of Greenwing Valley have proved them wrong. Most people think Rio de Janeiro is Brazil's capital, and it was until 1960. But in just 41 months between 1956 and 1960, a new capital city was created from nothing in empty scrubland. It was christened Brasilia. Brasilia's geographically central location was chosen to open up the undeveloped interior of Brazil. Its highly contemporary design was intended to instill pride in the Brazilian people, a 20th century capital for a 20th century nation. Urban planner Lucio Costa and architect Oscar Niemeyer decided that every element, from the layout of residential and administrative districts to the appearance of every single building, should reflect the city's overall design. Today, Brasilia, home to 2 million people, is a monument to Niemeyer's revolutionary architectural ideas. Niemeyer pioneered the use of reinforced concrete in designing Brasilia's most important structures. This allowed him to introduce curves and waves into the design of monumental buildings. These curves reminded him of the body of a loved one, clouds in the sky, ocean waves, and the Brazilian landscape. Niemeyer's work in Brasilia cemented his reputation as Brazil's greatest modern architect. He went on to design many more of Brazil's culturally important buildings, most notably Rio's Sambadrome, home of Carnival. Today, in addition to being Brazil's capital city and seat of government, Brasilia is the only modern city on Earth to be declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In 1880, Sao Paulo was a sleepy coffee-growing city with just 32,000 inhabitants. But rapid industrialization and immigration changed all that. Just 100 years later, by 1980, the population had soared to 8.5 million. Today, that number has more than doubled to around 18 million, making Sao Paulo one of the 5 most populous cities on the planet. Sao Paulo is now Brazil's commercial, financial, and industrial center. Skyscrapers stretch as far as the eye can see. But the city's rapid development has been accompanied by serious overcrowding. The vehicle ownership ratio here is 1 for every 2 residents, the highest in Brazil, where the average is 1 in 8. At rush hour, the roads are paralyzed by 150 miles of gridlock. The rich have found a way to rise above traffic jams. They have abandoned the roads and taken to helicopters. Whether it's heading to work in the mornings, attending a meeting across town, or just going shopping, a helicopter is now the preferred way to travel. If you can't afford to own a helicopter, you can hire a helicopter taxi. And fractional ownership companies have sprung up to allow the less wealthy to buy shares in a helicopter. Sao Paulo now has the fastest growing helicopter fleet in the world, outstripping New York and Tokyo. There are an estimated 100 liftoffs per hour in the business center of the city. Offices, hotels, and even department stores have their own helicopter landing pads. If you live in Sao Paulo and you can afford it, you might never have to wait in bumper-to-bumper traffic again. Rio de Janeiro is the home of samba, the pulsing beat at the heart of Carnival. But samba wasn't born on Rio's crowded Ipanema or Copacabana beaches, or in the fashionable and wealthy seafront neighborhoods. It was born in the favelas. A favela is a shanty town, a makeshift community where the poor and homeless build houses on unclaimed land. There are 800 favelas in Rio. They are home to 1 million people, 20% of the city's population. These are the communities at the heart of samba. Many favelas have given rise to samba schools, community groups that compete in the annual Carnival parade. In the months before Carnival, many of the samba schools hold all-night rehearsals. These draw people of every class and color into the favelas from across Rio. The bateria, the samba school's percussion band, beats the samba rhythm. It keeps the crowd dancing all night, trying to perfect their moves. But sambistas proudly claim that only a carioca, a person born and bred in Rio, can ever truly master the subtleties of the samba. Salvador, capital of the state of Bahia, was established as Brazil's first capital city in 1549. Until slavery was abolished in 1888, Salvador was the main port of entry for slaves from Africa. Over 300 years, an estimated 3.5 million African slaves were brought to Brazil. Today, Salvador has the largest population of African descendants of any city outside Africa, and the city is known as the African soul of Brazil. Afro-Brazilians here have managed to retain their African heritage to a greater extent than anywhere else in the New World. They have maintained their traditional religions by combining them with Catholicism to form Candomblé. The slaves also developed their own martial art, capoeira, concealing it from slave owners by making it look and sound like a dance. They also preserved African forms of music and song. Two capoeiristas play in a circle of people known as a roda, which features a drum, and the berimbau, a single-stringed percussion instrument shaped like a bow. The two players move together in a series of fast and dangerous kicks and sweeps. With skill, the blows never connect. The music determines the tempo of the encounter. Like many martial arts, some forms of capoeira have adopted a colored belt system to grade skill levels. Graduation from one belt to the next happens only when your capoeira master decides you are ready physically and mentally. Slave owners in Brazil allowed slaves to play drums, unaware that they also served as an important form of communication. These ancient rhythms from Africa transformed in Brazil were the inspiration for samba, the dance at the heart of Brazilian carnival. From the center of the 588 square miles encompassed by the teeming megacity of Sao Paulo, it seems as if the skyscrapers go on forever. But outside the city limits, much of Sao Paulo state's 96,000 square miles is farmland. This is the richest of Brazil's 26 states, and much of this wealth comes from agriculture. Sao Paulo State is the country's biggest producer of oranges, soybean, and sugarcane. Brazil has the world's largest commercial cattle herd, currently standing at around 200 million. And Sao Paulo State counts for almost 8% of Brazil's cattle production, around 14 million head. And where you get cows, you get cowboys. Ranching in Sao Paulo is largely unmechanized. Most cattle graze outside all year on wide open pasture under the watchful eye of a handful of cowboys, or peões, as they are known in Brazil. The peões have a work hard, play hard approach to life. As a result, rodeos, with events based around ranching work, are incredibly popular in Sao Paulo State. 1,800 events take place on the professional rodeo circuit every year. The biggest rodeo party in the world is held in the cattle town of Barretos. During the 10 days of the event, around 1 million people pass through the turnstiles. The most dangerous and most popular event at Brazilian rodeos is bull riding. Competitors have to ride half a ton of leaping, twisting bull, holding on with only one hand for 8 seconds in order to score points. Some of the world's best bull riders started out as ranch hands on the wide open pasture land of Sao Paulo State.